All right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started, and as a few more folks dial in. So hi, everyone. Welcome to our ISV Partner Webinar. My name is Sydney Lai. I work as an ISV Partner Manager here at ServiceNow. I'm delighted today to be joined by the team at PlatCore to discuss their learning management system that is natively built on the ServiceNow platform, and it's available through the ServiceNow store. Before we get started, I'm going to cover some housekeeping items for the audience. The webinar will last between 40 minutes to an hour, and you will be muted for the duration of the webinar. But if you wish to ask a question, you can do so using the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. If time permits, we'll answer your questions at the end of the webinar, but if not, we'll come back to you via email with the answers. Lastly, the webinar will be recorded, and you'll receive a link to the recording shortly after the webinar ends today. If you wish to do so, you can forward this on to your colleagues, and they can view the recording through the link. I will now hand it over to PlatCore, and I hope everyone enjoys the webinar.
Sydney ServiceNow, and in particular the ISV team, we thank you very much for hosting us today. So first of all, my name is John Becker, and I founded PlatCore, which is a learning management system that uses the technology of ServiceNow to deliver training. And I founded PlatCore almost 4 years ago to meet the real needs for a native ServiceNow learning management system. So PlatCore is an elite ServiceNow technology partner, and we're strong believers in technology in service to people. And we've built our product to make training easier for learners and administrators. And I'm excited to share just a little bit of that today to see some pretty exciting examples of this functionality. So first, I wanted to give a heartfelt thank you to Marie Jackson for joining us here today. And we can't wait to hear some of her expert tips on successful LMS implementations. And also, I want to mention that we've really enjoyed working with Marie and her team. And in fact, it feels like at this point, she's really part of the PlatCore family. And I will let Marie and Sean Gable, PlatCore's own Chief Solution Architect, introduce themselves in just a minute. But first, I hope to give a brief overview of PlatCore and then let them get to the good stuff. So a bit of background in case you're not yet familiar with PlatCore. So our learning management system is built directly into your ServiceNow instance, and this lets you do a few really neat things. First, you can consolidate. So your current ServiceNow instance has world-class security, scalability, reporting, and functionality, and of course, all that functionality is already built in. It also maintains a large amount of critical company data, and it's what ServiceNow CEO Bill McDermott calls the platform of platforms. And in other words, it's an important hub for other systems. So leveraging the Now platform for your LMS provides some really powerful outcomes, and today we'll show you some of those possibilities. Next, you're able to automate. So you can remove a lot of the repetitive menial tasks and focus on improving training and better utilizing your overall training budget. It also means repeatability, consistency, tracking, and much more is possible. And automation is also one of the things that ServiceNow does best. And finally, we'll provide great consumer-grade learning experiences so you can centralize all your relevant training in all in one easy-to-use location. And we've built our product on ServiceNow because it helps put this phenomenal technology in service to people. So what does it mean to be a native application? Well, like ServiceNow modules, native applications are built directly in and on ServiceNow using the customizable tables and workflows that are available on the platform. Now, why this is important is it allows native applications to be part of the existing IT ecosystem, which is extremely powerful for sharing information with departments such as IT or HR, or other systems such as ERP or CRM systems, just to name a few. Now, for PlatCore as an example, you can leverage your data to connect employees to the exact training that they need, and in turn, build a native repository of their training history right in their employee record, and all within ServiceNow. So an additional benefit is that the Now platform's accelerated development time allows us to bring new features to market faster. So native applications extend the ability to automate business processes across people, data, systems, and workflows. And your company gains detailed real-time insights through dynamic reporting and intelligent dashboards provided inside ServiceNow. So in short, native applications provide more connective power, and they also remove custom and costly integrations. Now, just a little bit of a plug for the ServiceNow store. The ServiceNow store has over 150 now certified applications that cover a wide range of capabilities. And there are lots of pre-built solutions for things like facilities management, enterprise architecture, asset and risk management, and more. So I hope that gives a bit of background as to what we do and what we are. So finally, just a quick pitch for our exciting new release, PlatCore 3.0, which we just released. So we have redesigned the learner portal to make it even easier to get the information that learners need. So our new catalog views make it simple for learners to find exactly what they want quickly. And we've made this beautiful and enjoyable experience for them to make them want to learn and adopt your learning platform. But on the admin side, it's now faster to build a course than ever before with our new course builder. And we've included some pre-designed image assets to make a beautiful catalog. And we've also included more content types that are now supported, and they're all designed with the experience of the learning and development admins in mind, helping them do the work of curriculum development versus IT management. Now we'll learn a little bit more about training roles today, which is a new feature that lets you assign required and optional training for specific roles. And this brings another level of flexibility to assigning training to your organization. And of course, in addition to our Landover support, we also make it easier to get live even faster with our new guided setup. So you can still get up and running quickly, but now you have more confidence that everything is configured and nothing is missed. So we've taken a massive leap forward in the ease of administration, and we've added some crazy powerful new features to help automate training even further. So now for the main event though, I will let Sean Gable take it away. Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, John. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Sean Gable, the Chief Solution Architect at PlatCore. A little background about myself. I'm a retired U.S. Air Force commander, and prior to joining PlatCore a year ago, I spent 13 years as a software and system engineering consultant with Booz Allen Hamilton, working in the federal government on HR and learning management systems. Joining me today is Marie Jackson. Hi, Marie. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and experience?
Hi, Sean. Thanks for inviting me today to join in. It's a pleasure. For those listening, I'm based in Australia and I have 13 years experience working in large organisations with highly diverse workforces of up to 4,500 staff. My key roles in these businesses have been managing learning and development teams, systems and processes.
Thanks, Marie. Really appreciate you for taking your time today to share your experience and journey with us. Now let me share some more information about Townsville City Council. And don't run away, Marie. We'll be getting back to you in just a few minutes. So Townsville, Australia is the largest urban center north of the Sunshine Coast, and it's a major government, community, and business hub. The Townsville City Council operates in a highly regulated environment, and each of their 1,600 staff members are required to complete annually mandated training courses. To increase the challenge of maintaining this training, each employee also has unique learning requirements that must be met, and the roles span from veterinarians to botanists, engineers to gardeners, and accountants to lawyers. This level of role diversity and regulation created a unique and challenging training management problem. Townsville City Council evaluated several learning management system vendors, and as an existing ServiceNow organization, they were drawn to the synergy they could gain from ServiceNow's HR modules and PlatCore as a native ServiceNow application, such as having the ability to consolidate their training content and data into a single platform, leveraging the ease of automation, elevating the user experience for their staff, and it also gave them the ability to revise their internal training processes. Townsville joined the PlatCore family in June of 2019 and has done some amazing things with the learning management system and their ServiceNow platform. So let's talk about some of the challenges Townsville was experiencing and their journey with PlatCore to their solution. Let's bring Marie back into the conversation to talk about some of the challenges Townsville City Council was trying to solve. In some of our early conversations with you, Marie, during your LMS evaluation process, you identified there were some significant challenges with having multiple systems. Can you tell us a little bit about the training management process involved with the legacy system that Townsville was using?
Yeah, sure. While I was working with Townsville Council, they recognised multiple challenges in their LMS space. Now, it's worth noting that they're not alone, and other organisations I have worked with have had very similar obstacles. Firstly, as you mentioned, there's working across multiple systems. The training records, they were held in the HR system, which in itself isn't a problem. It's a good system, but it had very little functionality in regards to training management. It was a database. A separate system had been used for online training, and all training, attendance and assessment records were managed outside of these systems. So administration staff were manually entering data between the content platforms and the database. So that was the challenge around multiple systems. Reporting was very manual. So that was being exported to Excel, then formatted and distributed. There was no system to hold and manage the business's TNA, or training needs analysis. So arranging training was a very reactive process rather than proactive. And finally, I would add the frustration that the staff were unable to access their own training records and history, and that managers couldn't see the training needs or records for their staff. So I'd say, in short, the management of training was a very administrative and labour-intensive process with little to no automation.
Thanks for that, Marie. So also along those lines, with moving all of that data around manually, were there issues with your data integrity?
Data integrity was a big concern, as well as the lack of visibility around expiring training and licenses. With no automated system notifications, there was a potential of staff being unable to work due to expired certifications. Now, this can ultimately cost any business money, time, and potentially reputational damage.
Absolutely. Data integrity is at the heart and is so important, especially when you're dealing with certifications and mandated training, and just having the ability to effectively track all that information can have a major impact on how much time the L&D staff has to spend. Exactly. We also understood that your content platform at the time was charging per-use fees for some of the online training, so Townsville had allowed that contract on the content platform to expire, but because of legislative mandates, they still had to deliver training. How did that impact the L&D team and the organization as a whole?
Yes, that's correct. It was before my time, but a previous platform for online training was used at Townsville. However, as mentioned, it was standalone and some of the content was charged per use, which was not effective. When I started, as you mentioned, we had to fill the gap. So we began offering face-to-face training. Now, this was effective to meet our compliance, but it was a huge drain on resources. For example, the mandatory annual Code of Conduct training took us a total of 600 man-hours to deliver over the course of 1 month to 1,600 staff. This didn't only affect the learning and development team. We were using resources from human resources and our safety teams to deliver the sessions, as well as the impact to the business in their time for attending the sessions. The whole business wanted a change.
Absolutely. Sounds like it was definitely a painful time going between systems. Thanks for sharing those challenges with us, Marie. I'm sure there are some attendees today that can definitely relate to some and maybe all of those same challenges. Now that we have a good understanding of the challenges that Townsville was facing, let's talk a little bit about your project management and implementation approach and how you're able to assist Townsville in solving those challenges. I know we were very excited to work with you during the implementation process, and you assembled a great team. Implementing any new system in an organization can be challenging, from getting executive buy-in to the technical implementation to rolling out the new system to the workforce. Let's take a few minutes to talk about your approach to implementing the PlatCore LMS. What were some of the key considerations you had when managing this implementation project?
One of the fantastic things about implementing PlatCore as a learning management system solution for any business is the absolute ease of it. It did not require a large team or an extensively large project budget after buying the system. In fact, I was the only person dedicated to the project full-time. I had key staff from Townsville's IT team working with me in the ServiceNow space. However, that was blended into their normal role and business as usual tasks. It really is as simple as installing an app on your phone. If your business is ready and already using ServiceNow, and a key thing, if you already have training content developed, a business could be using PlatCore the very next day. What I will mention as key success factors are ensuring you have management sponsorship and support, you have predetermined goals and milestones with a deliberate rollout plan, identified key metrics, and what I mean by that is knowing what success looks like and the measurable benefits the business will see from a successful implementation, clear messaging to the workforce around the benefits it will bring to them personally, and of course partnership with the PlatCore support team, which I couldn't fault. The whole PlatCore team was so responsive to our needs and a true partner in the Townsville City Council project.
Thanks for the kind words, Marie. We're always happy to hear how easy it can be to get the system up and running, and we really enjoy working closely with our customers to make sure the system meets their needs. So what do you feel worked best for you, and what were some challenges you had to overcome during the implementation process?
Overall, I would say there are three main success factors for the implementation, and those are probably all linked to the system itself. Firstly, as I just mentioned, the seamless implementation from an IT point of view. PlatCore is ready to go and has no additional resources, training or skill sets required. Even a lot of the integrity around security is already taken care of on the ServiceNow platform. Secondly, it is easy for a business's training team to use the system. So Townsville City Council have a very small training team, and yet they can easily and quickly manage the LMS in regards to content, functionality, bookings, administration, and data records. Thirdly, and finally, and most importantly, I would say the end user experience. It needed to be easy for our end users. So one-click access, single sign-on, no additional passwords, and that directly takes the user to their personal dashboard, which details their individual specific training needs. It is so intuitive to use that the end user didn't need to be trained in the new system. And in the first month of go live for the council, we had 1,360 staff complete a course. Now that's 85% of the entire workforce in the first month. When we talk about challenges, I think one of the biggest challenges from the council's point of view was once we launched, being able to keep up with the business's appetite for the system. They were so keen that they wanted more content immediately. And despite having a lot in development, it was hard to keep up. And also, the launch at the Townsville City Council was a step-by-step approach in regards to releasing additional functionality in the system. So it was nice that they were ready for more even before the project was.
Those are great points, Marie, and I think your early interaction with stakeholders was key to creating the great demand to expand the system. Now, during this process, you did have one very specific request for my team during the implementation, and that was around training profiles. At the time, training profiles didn't exist in the PlatCore application, but it was a need that you'd identified to us. Can you tell us a little bit about your vision for training profiles and why you needed them?
Sure. And I'm sure that a lot of business can relate to this, not just those specifically related to the council. So the two main contributing factors that led to the development of the training profiles were, if you give staff access to an LMS with a full catalogue of all the training that your company offers, without defining their individual needs, staff have a tendency to select the training they want rather than what they need. This costs time and money. And secondly, in larger organisations, you often have multiple people fulfilling the same role, which has the same training needs associated to it. This is where a business will have a training needs analysis, or a TNA, to use to manage the roles and the training needs. So, on those 2 points, in order to ensure that people are training in the right things and to minimise the management required, rather than creating, in Townsville City Council's case, 1,600 people-based training profiles, one for each person, we wanted to create a smaller number of profiles relating to the roles in the business and then assign staff to the role. Basically, we wanted to run the TNA directly in the LMS. And by working with PlatCore to create training profiles, which I believe are now called training roles, we made it happen. So, for example, let me talk you through this. Let's say we had 35 administration staff across the business and they all needed the same training. We create a role profile for administration and link 35 staff to that training role. It makes it very easy for new hires as they are assigned immediately to the training role, which details what they need from the TNA. It makes internal transfers easy, as a staff member's training history will carry with them into a new position, and the training role will highlight the gaps that they need for their new role. We also colour-coded it, so all training listed immediately shows in a user's dashboard, and it shows green if it's completed, orange if it's expiring soon, and red if it hasn't been completed or is overdue. So this makes it easy for the end user to immediately be able to identify their training dashboard and see what needs to be attended to. The other benefit in creating training roles is that a staff member can have more than one training role. So, for example, at Townsville City Council, each staff member has a minimum of 2. One is a specific profile dedicated to corporate training. This is training that every employee, regardless of their role, has to complete. Things like the company induction and policy courses, stuff like that we all have to do. Now, when a new element is added company-wide, let's take a current case, if we had to add a COVID information session, it gets added to the one profile, yet that gets applied across all 1,600 staff immediately as they're all linked to the corporate profile. Secondly, a staff member has a profile linked to their unique role, which could be shared with other people, such as the administration role we used as an example earlier. A person could also have a third role. For example, if they were a nominated first aid responder for their building, they would also be linked to the first aid role. So that's a little bit about how we wanted to set up that system. And the other huge advantage in running an LMS this way means that you are able to easily identify in advance the number of people needing what training each quarter. So we know what training is expiring and when. So you can proactively schedule training well in advance before any certifications expire.
Thanks for that explanation, Marie. I'm sure everyone on the call today can relate to the need for finding better ways to deliver training to the workforce. Getting feedback and feature requests from our customers is one of our favorite things to work on because we know there's going to be a direct impact on your ability to execute on your training goals. Training profiles was a great concept that takes a big step towards role-based learning, and we saw the significant value in that it could provide in solving not only Townsville's training challenges, but also the needs of some of our other customers. It also fit really well with some areas that we were looking at related to competency management that's already on our roadmap. And we even set up weekly meetings with you and the Townsville team to provide regular updates, collect additional feedback, and I think in the end we were able to produce a great solution for Townsville. We enjoyed working with you and the Townsville team to create training profiles and training roles, and they were such a great feature, we felt all of our customers could benefit them, so we rebranded them as training roles and became one of our key features in our version 3.0 release. Thanks again for working with us, and I'm looking forward to getting feedback from some of our other customers as they start to use training roles now that they're available in our 3.0 version. Now, I'm really excited to talk to you about this next topic because we usually don't get to see this part of the implementation, but I think it's an important piece to share with the audience. Let's talk about your go live plan and process. So we covered the details of the problem, implementing the solution, but I've always felt that go live is just as critical a part of the implementation journey. You can have the best plan and implementation, but if you don't have a great go live approach, then the user adoption can be a real challenge. I think you and the Townsville team had a fantastic approach to getting the workforce ready for the new LMS, and I think it paid huge dividends in the end, based on some of the numbers that you've already shared with us today, that we'll talk about a little bit more of those numbers in a few minutes when we get to the results. So Marie, can you tell us why you included go live planning into your approach and why you felt it was so important?
Sure. Go live is critical to any project implementation, and it doesn't end once the system is live. It can't be successful without full adoption, and the business needs metrics to verify this, to justify the project. So our go live and communication to the business approach, it really started at the project initiation stage. You know, I brought myself personally a lot of LMS and training history with me, so I knew what a good system needed. But I also made sure I consulted with the many departments of the business to understand their needs in our LMS solution. And so once this consultation happened, I was constantly communicating back with them to let them know that we were incorporating their needs and more to the end product. So doing check-ins to make sure that, you know, the things we were working on, the end look solution was going to meet their needs. Once we were ready to launch, we were also able to target all staff personally via an email with a generic URL link, which took them straight to their personalised training dashboard and direct to their courses. So it was really simple and each user felt targeted personally. Success metrics were easy to track once we went live, as the PlatCore LMS allowed us to shift from a tedious manual spreadsheet reporting effort into live data on dashboards, and that was just a fantastic end solution.
Automation is always a beautiful thing. You also had a unique approach to your rollout of the LMS by choosing a single course that all your employees had to complete as kind of your proof of concept for the LMS. What made you choose that approach for your initial go live?
We tried really, really hard not to overwhelm our end users and make it very easy for them. As mentioned, Townsville City Council has a real diverse workforce, and whilst many are comfortable with technology and use it constantly, we also have a lot of outdoor workers with very manual tasks who have little exposure, if any, to technology. So computers, they don't use at work, and many don't use them at home. And these people can be easily intimidated by it. So we really wanted to make it easy. So by keeping it simple and emailing everyone a very short email, which was actually really just an awesome cartoon graphic with a click here URL to complete your training, it took the staff directly to the course. It made it simple and easy. So they didn't feel like they were learning a whole new system. It just took them directly to where they needed to go. Within the first 12 days of go live, 52% of the business had completed that course. We had set a metrics of compliance timeframe for 30 days, and we met our 85% target by day 20.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think that was a great rollout approach, and I'd recommend a similar approach for anyone implementing a new system. It really helps you be successful and control the training narrative within your organization. The Townsville team also created a great introduction to the learning management system video that Marie had mentioned to go along with that helped introduce the users to the system in a very easy to understand way. What kind of initial feedback was received from the Townsville workforce about your release video and just the LMS in general?
Again, Sean, it was about keeping it simple. So everyone can watch a movie, and in fact, many prefer it to reading a lot of text in emails or being called away from their work to attend meetings and presentations. So I developed the custom 3-minute animation video to introduce the new system. It explained the major changes in our training process, and within the new system, it also showed users how to start using it. It was really engaging and very successful tool in the rollout. The video was added to the company's daily news page, and it was also available to show in starter shift meetings. So it did the whole rollout communication for us.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for all that, Marie. I know we covered a lot of information today, and you provided some great insights into your project management approach that I know everyone on the call can find something out of there that will benefit them. Why don't we take a moment to review some of the results that Townsville City Council achieved? So Townsville was able to dramatically improve its training efficiencies through fewer systems to manage, streamlined business processes, automated workflows. The learning and development team has now been freed from data entry tasks, which means a better quality of life for them and the ability to better serve their end users and learners. They've also been freed from content vendors and are now expanding their training capacity beyond simply compliance training to on-demand and role-based education. They now have control of their system and content, which drives a significant cost savings over their old system that charged on the per-play fee basis for some of their e-learning content. And staff can now refresh their knowledge by revisiting any content on any course at any time. So when all Townsville's courses are fully implemented into PlatCore, they anticipate saving 447 hours a month and can contribute 50% of those savings simply to the system alone. And the other 50% they can attribute to some of the new business-wide training processes that they've implemented now that they have this automation. Learning and development manual enrollment time has been decreased by 70% through the automation of assignments within the system. And manual data entries per month are going to decrease from just over 1,000 entries a month to 0 because our LMS provides a 100% automated process now. I think these are some amazing results, and I know the learning and development team at Townsville appreciates the time they've gained back, which now allows them to continue expanding their training content to meet the expanding needs across the business. So we've come to the end of our presentation today. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. Marie, thank you so much for joining us and sharing the Townsville City Council implementation journey. It was a real pleasure working with you on the project and a great joy getting to talk to you again today.
Thank you, Sean. I enjoyed being able to join you, and I hope that I've been of some help to those listening by sharing the experience.
I'm sure you have. Definitely some great points in there today. Thanks again, Marie. I have no doubt that everyone on the call today is able to take something away from the discussion we just had. If anyone has any questions for Marie or questions about the PlatCore Learning Management System, we'd be happy to answer them via email or schedule a follow-up to talk more about your organization's unique needs. As a reminder, we'll be sending out this recording of this presentation in the next few days. With that, thank you for spending your time with us today. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you all. And on behalf of ServiceNow, we want to thank Townsville City Council and PlatCore for hosting today's webinar. And hope everyone has a great day or evening.